Once again to another tutorial. I want to show you on how to get an illusion neckline. That is what I want to really make right now, and I have a video which I just dropped on how to draft your bustier princess, that in this bust which I am working with is bust of 48, which I did just a while ago. So what I want to show you now is how to get the neckline for this bustier cup, because what she wants the front to be open, and I want to use this lace to get the illusion out for this front neckline. So how to do that, what I'm going to do now is to get the shoulder measurement which I'm going to work with. So I'm going to work with 4 inches for my shoulder, sorry, for the width of my neck. I'm going to work with 4 inches. It all depends on how wide or how small you want your neck to be. So for this which I'm working with is 4 inches, and the depth of my neck which I'm going to work with is 7.5 inches. So after getting my 7.5 inches, I'm going to go ahead to draw my line just like this. This is my curve is identical. This is my curve. So I'm going to get my neckline. I'm not comfortable with this neckline, so I will use my free hand um, to get my neckline. So your neckline depends on what you want to do. So after getting my neckline like that, so what I'm going to do now is to get the depth of my illusion neckline, which I have there is 13.5, and I'm going to, at this down part, I'm going to come in. This is my center front. Take note of this. This is my center front. So when doing this on your fabric, it should be on fold. This very part should be on fold. It should be on fold. Please, beginners, I know for on fold, I will shoot a video on how to explain this better. For beginners, I will explain this better on how to get your fabric on fold. So what I'm going to do now is to put your 0.5 inch from this point, just like this. When you put my 0.5 inch down to this up line, then I'm going to roll my line up just like this. My 0.5 inch which I have. So this is my 0.5 which I am just creating right now down to this up just like so. What I'm going to do now is to get my neck width, because my illusion neckline is not going to come straight like this. It is going to come in to form my neckline just like this. So I just need this 0.5 inch to get to this up before creating that neck opening. So what I'm going to do now, from this spot now, I will go ahead to create it open just like this. I'm going to create my illusion neckline open from my bustier point. From my nipple to nipple measurement, that is where the opening is going to start from. So this opening depends on how you want yours to be open. This totally depends on how you want yours to be open. So you can see what I just do now to get my opening for this illusion neckline. So you can see the shape of what I just created right now. So it comes out like this for my neckline. So let me go ahead to terminate my neckline first before, so you don't get confused on what I am trying to do. So this is my neckline which I am trimming out just like this. My neckline which I'm trimming out like this. Then from this spot which I drew, I'm going to trace it out to get my face for my illusion neckline for what I'm working with. So this also depends on how open you want yours to be. This totally depends on you how open. You can also make it smaller than this or wider than this. It depends on how exposed you want your bust to be. That is what you are going to do. You can also extend it up to 1 inch at this part. It all depends on you. But what I am really working on I want to make use of this 0.5 inch. Then for my bust point, I connect it down to my neckline just like this. So take note, what I did for the width of my neckline is 4 inches. So I'm going to apply the same thing for my back. So let me keep this aside first for my front, and let me come over for my back. So this is my back right here, which I have right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to extend my back as well by 4 inches. But in this case for my back, I always like cutting my fabric, sewing my fabric before cutting. Then I can come down by 4 inches or 3.5, 3 inches. It all depends on how many you want yours to be. So for this case, I'm just coming down by 4 inches to get my curve for my neckline. So let me see what this French curve can offer me right now. How the curve will be like, how it will, what it can give me. Okay, so this is what I have. What I like cutting my back, but you can still go ahead to do it. Right? There's no big deal about that. But what I will do first is to sew it first before placing it. I'm still going to show you guys on how to do that. But let's focus on the front first of all. So after getting my front like this, don't forget, when cutting on your fabric, you need to put 0.5 inch for sewing allowance, 0.5 inch all through this part, 0.5 from this part down to this end, include the 0.5. Also at your center face, you are going to put 0.5 inch at this side, which I just trimmed out. So what I want to do for this illusion neckline now, I don't want my lace to be full. I want to attach my fabric at this my half cut line, which I have at my under bust line. So if you take a close look, you can still see my under bust line, which I have right here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to slit this out. So I don't want my illusion neckline, because of the client which I'm working with. She don't want it to be that revealing like that, to get up to the length of the waist. So I'm going to start my illusion neckline from here upward. But before I do so, I have to slit my under bust line, which I have right here. So after slitting my under bust line, what I'm going to do at this point as well, I'm going to put 0.5 here, 0.5 here. It is not difficult. This is how beautiful fashion is when it comes to calculation. This is how nice it looks. So what I'm going to do now, from this part, I'm going to put my 0.5 here. From this part, I'm also going to put my 0.5 on my fabric. But this side is going to be on fold. When cutting my fabric, here it will be on fold. This side will be on fold. Here is the side which I trimmed out. So 0.5 from this point down to this point, here will be like that, because I already included my sewing allowance when cutting my cloth. So here we'll have my 0.5 up to this end, up, and from this down as well, 0.5 up to that extent when cutting my illusion neck at my lace. So my fabric, when placing this on my fabric, I'm going to put my 0.5 inch for this neck part. So when joining this, there is no shifting of this. So this is how beautiful fashion is when it comes to pattern draft. That is why it is always nice and beautiful when you are working with your pattern paper. You can go ahead to give your dress a creative shape. So if in case you also want to trim this out, it depends on you. Like I just said, you can also cut this out and use a different fabric for this part and different fabric for this part. All you need to do is to include your 0.5 inch after trimming this out, so that when you join, it will sit at your normal measurement, and you go ahead to be creative with that kind of designs. So it all depends on you. So after getting my measurements like this, let me go ahead now to cut my fabric out and come back to show you how it looks and what to do on step-by-step basis. I will also go ahead to pad it so you don't get confused, and come back to show you everything about it that you need to know. Okay, so I have gone ahead to trim out all my pieces which I'm going to work with, just like this. So this is my front. Let me differentiate my front from my back. This is my back and this is my front, and this is how my pieces are going to be, just like this. You can see this little piece which I also have here. So all my fabric for this part and this part, they are both on fold. I cut them on fold, as you can see, just like this. So what I'm going to do now is to pack them, and for this I'm going to make this a two-piece. I'm going to make this two-piece. So when I cover this with my gum, I'm also going to seal it with another piece inside so that my gum will not show while sewing it. So that's what I'm going to do for this piece. So this is how it's actually going to look, because I'm going to place my 0.5 as I told you together. So what I'm going to do now is to go ahead now to pad my blouse. And when padding this top, what I'm going to do now, my pad is going to continue from here. I'm not going to pad it in a full shape the way I normally do. So what I'm going to do, the way I cut my pad for this other part, go ahead and watch that video. The way I cut my pad for this other side, that is the same way I'm going to cut my pad for this other side. So my pad is going to pass just like this. It will keep about 0.7 inches for the seat. So my pad is going to come just like this, just giving you a clue on how my pad is going to look like when I'm going to pad it. So 0.7, it is going to free from 0.7, because remember, okay, I already have my 0.5 right here, so I can just make it exactly this shape, or from this my line, from this my fabric right here, I'm going to come in by 0.7, to pad it just like this. So 0.7 to pad it like this. So the remaining 0.7 that is left right here, 0.5 is for the joining of this both part, and I will still have a little piece of allowance that will contain here. So let me go ahead to pad my blouse. I have a video on how to pad, so that will make it easier for you to understand. So go ahead to check on how to get your nipple to nipple measurement. That was, I believe that was the video which I described on how to pad this. Go ahead and check that video. So let me go ahead to do everything, cut my lining. Don't forget I'm still going to cut my lining for this piece, and also this piece exactly the same shape for everything, but this one is not going to have the lining. But if you want to double your net, you can still double your net for this front, and I'm going to double my fabric at this point. So let me go ahead to do everything just like that. So I told you here it will be on fold. So here is on fold, which I cut it, as you can see what I have right here. It is on fold, and what I have right here also is on fold. So you can see what is, I'm going to join it by 0.5, so it will be able to fit in what I will place here. So let me go ahead to pad and come back to show you on what to do next. So I have gone ahead with my padding, as I told you. You can see what I have right here. You can see that I have used for my joining of my neck to my fabric. So you can see my side as well as I padded it. So this is my lining which I went on to do for my side, and my center for my lining. Everything is totally equal with my main fabric. So you can see my lining for my back as well with my back fabric. So you can see what I told you. This is what I'm going to join as this other part. You can see this other part as well. You can see. So what I used there, after I used my gum to gum it, what I did was to put how is it called, hemming gum. So I use hemming gum to place this other side and this other side, to place this on it, and I iron it so you can see it is all equal. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to sew here close. So if I sew here close now, it will be like this, and I'm going to top stitch on new fabric, or I can decide to leave it like that. So what I'm going to do now is to join my side and my center front, but for this your lining you do not need anything as this, because this is going to be single. That is the reason why I did this, because this is going to be single. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to start after joining this part. Okay, let me just go ahead to join this part first, so you don't get confused on how to go before I come back to show you what to do. Okay, so I have gone ahead to sew this part, and I went ahead to top stitch it. As you can see, I made a top stitch on my fabric right here. So what you will want to do at this other part is to sew it first. So what you are going to do is to sew it from this down. You are going to sew it up to this part. You are going to sew this first to this your center front. You're going to sew this other center front to this one before you go ahead to add your side, so it won't give you difficulty when sewing it. So after you are done sewing this one to this, you are still going to sew this one as well. At this other side, I'm still going to sew this from here down to this neckline. I'm going to sew it just like this, place it like this, follow it till this neckline. Then I turn it over before I go ahead to sew this one at my side. So let me go ahead to sew this one like this first of all. I'm going to say that it's first of all before I go ahead to join my side. Before joining my side. So let me go ahead to sew it, then come back to show you on what to do. Don't forget, you're not just going to sew it straight. Please pardon me for the sake of beginners so they understand on how to go about this. So just go ahead to sew it your 0.5, which you remember I kept for sewing allowance. That is what you are going to sew up to this length. Sew it up to this end, then do the same for this other part then before you join your side together. So let me go ahead to do that and come back. Okay, so as you can see, I have gone ahead to sew everything. I went on to pad it, as you can see. So just the way I told you on how to do it, that is exactly the same way I did on this. So what I'm going to do now is to get my shoulder measurements, and if you could remember, I took away 4 inches for the width of my shoulder. So by extending it, my shoulder is 16 divided by 2 will give me 8. So I'm going to plus the same 8 at this point to get my complete shoulder measurement divided by 2. So from here now, I've just ruled this to get my armhole. I'm still going to trim after everything. I'm just getting my armhole 9 inches, and here come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. Then from my shoulder slope, I connect it down to my neckline. But for this neckline, I will still want to extend it. I still feel like extending my neckline. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to extend my neckline just like this. Let me say by 0.5 inch. I extend my neckline by 0.5 inch. So this is my 0.5 inch which I'm using to extend my neckline. Don't worry, I'll show you how to do that on your other lining fabric. So after getting it like that, I just drew my straight line from here to my shoulder, my 1 inch slope to my shoulder, my neckline, reduce it by 1 inch for the extension of my neckline. Then I'm just going to blend here and make it straight to connect it down to the width of my neckline just like this. So after connecting it to my neckline just like that, what I'm going to do now is to put my armhole curve just like this. As I told you earlier, I'm still going to trim my armhole after everything, so I don't want to trim it so that it will not be over the armhole. So I'm still going to trim it finally before fixing my sleeve. That will be done. So I'm going to slant my shoulder to the 1 inch for sewing allowance which I have here. Then just go ahead to get my curve like this down to this my armhole. So this is done for my armhole. Then for my lining, as you may know, my lining, I just use this other part to cut out my lining. So for my lining does not have this illusion net or anything. It will just be just like this. So what I'm going to do for my lining, and I'm going to place my fabric just like this, because if you know my lining, I cut it equally with my fabric, so I'm not expecting everything will be equal with my fabric. So I'm just going to place it like this to get my lining before I trim out exactly the same shape. So this is wrong side facing wrong side, as you can see what I'm trying to do here. So don't make a mistake, because I have already cut out my neckline, so the mistake will not occur. So you should have the same thing like this, right side facing wrong side, just like this. So I want to trim out my neckline for my lining. So after placing it like this, it will give me exactly the same shape as I want before I go ahead to trim out. So this will be tricky, but it is very simple and easy to do. Just go ahead to make sure everything is set before you go ahead to trim. So what you can see here now, I have gotten exactly the same what I want for my neckline after trimming that out. So this is exactly what I have right now. So what I'm going to do, so make sure this part as well is also matching, fitting the same shape which you want to work with. So I'll go on to trim it just like this. Take your time when doing this so you don't mess up your fabric. So just go ahead to follow the same neckline which you use on the main fabric to cut out. Then I slant down my shoulder over to my armhole. just like this over to my armhole, then slant it down to my side joining. So after doing that, I am done with this other part of my line. So I will use this as a replacement to get my other side for my bust, because it was equally cut out. So I'm going to use this as a replacement to get my other part. So for it to be easier for me to do without going further to the other side, you just go ahead to place your like this, because what you have on your line is equally the same thing you have at the other part. So the easiest way to do it, just to make sure you place it very well, then go ahead to cut it out. So that is what I'm trying to do now to get my fabric in place. So you can see what I have here. Here is set and balanced. Hope you get what I'm trying to say. Here is set and balanced, and you can see my neckline, everything now is now out. You can see how here they are all equally placed together. So I'll go ahead to trace or trim out my neck piece to meet up with to the end, just like this. After that, I trim my armhole, my shoulder slope, then over to my armhole, just like this, to meet up this point. So after this, I'm done with my lining. Then I'm going to focus on my back now. So at my back region, I told you I will cut my back after I have gone ahead to cut out my neckline and sew it together. That is when I will cut out my back. So for my back, all I'm going to do now is to place my front on my back. If you have been following me, the back is very easy to cut, both at the neckline and everything that contains the back is very easy to do. So just go ahead to place it like this. Make sure this is equal at this down part. Then it's equal at this down part. Then your neckline is like this. Then what I'm going to do now, I'm going to decide the depth of my neck. You know, your back and your front are not supposed to be equal. Your back is supposed to be longer than your front because of the joining of your bust. After it was straight, after joining your bust, now to give you the exact measurement of your bust, it now came in from your bust shape. So after placing it like this, make sure this down is equal. I'm still repeating this. Make sure this down is equal at this part. Then your neckline here is equal. Then just go ahead to draw it. You can decide to take what measurement you have from this point to this point. So I have 1.2 here. So you can go ahead to put your 1.2 at this top like this. And you can decide the depth of your neck which you want to make use of. So let's say I'm making use of 3 inches for my neck depth, just like this. I'm going to draw it from this part, just like this, to my neck depth. Then I'm going to connect it from here to my neck depth, just like this. Don't forget, you can see I have my sewing allowance for my zipper in place, just like this. So before you do that, make sure you have your zipper allowance set before doing that, so you don't go on to cut or make any errors. So what I'm going to do next now is to make sure I get my shoulder slope to connect to my armhole point, just like this. So you can see what I have here. So after 3 minutes like this, what I'm going to do now for my side, I'm going to raise my side by 1 inch. For my side, I'm going to raise it by 1 inch, just like this. Connect it down to this point. So this is just very easy for you to make. Just connect it. Let me see, your 1 inch will start from your 2 inches for sewing allowance. No, I have not joined anything. So your 1 inch will start from the 2 inches sewing allowance. Connect it down to this point. So just go ahead to get your curve like this. It's very easy to create. Just go ahead to get it like that. Because of the shaping of your bust, maybe sides to form down instead of to be equal. So as you can see it now, it is equal at the down part because of the trimming which I did. You can see now it is equal at the down part. So after doing this like this, what I'm going to do now is to cut the same shape for your back, but for your front. Before you do that for your back, for your front, what you are going to do now is to sew it together. And how to sew it together, you know, it will sit right side facing right side like this, wrong side facing wrong side. Before you're going to do that, you are going to sew it from this down like this, you're going to sew it upward. That is the reason why I doubled there. So the lining just like this. The part which I padded this would show at this side. That's why I doubled it like this. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to sew from here up to my neckline. Then I'm going to finish it at the end. Then I will do the same thing at this other side. I'm going to sew it up to the end to this side. So if you want to if you want to make it an inner sewing, you can as well leave it like that. But if you want to sew it without an inner sewing, you are going to join it inside. So I will go ahead to join it inside in case, but it's the person that has boss. In case I am not around or the person is far from me, she will be able to make an adjustment. Because if you go ahead to make it an inner sewing, not everybody will be that patient to be able to lose it and do amendment for your client. So just go ahead to do it either with any way you want to do it. If you prefer inner sewing, you can go ahead to do it like that. I have already shown you. I have a video on how to do that already. I have a video on how to get your inner sewing done and neat. So you can remind me in case I forget to keep the link down below in the description box for you to go ahead to learn. So what I'm doing now is trimming exactly the same shape of my back. I'm not going to show you this. I just go ahead to do it. You know how to do this. Trim exactly the same shape. Then slit your back open with both your lining. So let me go ahead and join the front and come back to you to show you everything. So you can see I've gone ahead to join it all together. So you can see how neat the inside looks like. You can see there is nothing showing here. You can see in case you want to adjust, you know how to go about this. So for this down part, when cutting my lining, I did not make adjustments the way I did for my fabric. So this is what comes out after joining. So it is very important for you to start your joining of your armhole from your armhole points down to this length. Anytime you want to join your armhole, it is very important to do that. So you can trim any excess at this down. It is very important to do that, to join from your up downward when joining. So this is what I have after showing you. I believe you can continue from here. This is the back. I believe you can continue from here. So I don't want to waste much of your time. I just want to give you some key points which I think will help you overcome some kind of issues that will come your way on how to go about this illusion neckline. You can be creative about this. You can be creative with this. So I really appreciate you guys for your comments. I have been seeing a lot of comments from you guys appreciating me. I appreciate you more because you guys are the reason why I am still here doing this every day. I have taken you guys as my family, my new family. Without uploading a video or making videos every week, I feel as if I'm sick without doing that. So I really appreciate you guys for giving me the courage, appreciating me and keeping me going on how to upload new videos every day. So I really appreciate you guys for all your support. I really appreciate you guys. I say thank you for your love, thank you for your prayers. I say may the good Almighty Lord which you are serving bless you all. Thank you, stay safe and remain blessed.